douleur. Doucement, ça fait du bruit comme mon rêve, et la pluie. Je vais prendre ta douleur. Je vais prendre ta douleur, prendre ta douleur. Je vais prendre ta douleur.
Talk Back for Teens. I'm your guest host tonight, Tianna Mañón. And actually, let's just get right back into it. Before we went to break, we were talking about why teens aren't more participatory. So let's get back into that. I saw that you had something to say.
Yeah, I feel like teens don't really talk because they seem like everything they'll say will get shot down because the older generation feels like, oh, I've been through this, I already know how to get through it. But I feel like since we're in a different generation and we're made up in a different society, we have to talk for our own. But nobody really gonna let us talk because they act like they can't listen. And since we are the future, we should be the ones paving the way and making, making changes for ourselves since we are the face of the future. And the older generation is already dying off, so I feel like they should listen more to what we have to say instead of going based off of what they went through because we're in two different generations.
And I saw another couple comments about why teens don't talk more.
I think another major reason why teens don't talk more is because of criticism from their peers. Usually when teens kind of veer off from, their group of friends, they're kind of seen in a negative way because, I don't know, maybe they're scared of being picked on, being shot down, because their head is in something totally different. And maybe even teens are scared to lose friends. They're so wound up in trying to impress others when they lose true sight of what they really want. They want better, but because their friends don't want what they want, they'd rather give up working on something that they could change and just fall back.
Why is youth voice so important when we're thinking about changing the community and changing what's going on in our society? Why is it so important?
I feel like it's important because we have like a strong and powerful voice since we like make a majority of what's going on and since we are like the center of really what's going on, and we should be the ones to be like, look, we want to change it through more positive ways instead of looking at what's happened in our past. We should be focused on our future.
I was gonna basically say what Unicia said. Basically, like we are the ones that's going through what we're going through right now in the community. So I feel like we need to like speak up. Like, how do we feel about it? Like, we need to get out here and see if we can make a change in the community because we really don't have that much adults out here trying to make a change either. So I feel like we the face of the future. So I feel like we the ones who should be out here trying to help the community, and the younger ones that's up under us, help them build up so they could do the same that we're doing.
I was going to say, I think that youth voice is very essential to change because even in history it has been like youth have been in the upfront of a lot of protests and a lot of change, and we have the ability to do it if we all, unite and have that education and that mindset that, this is what we want to do. And also, if opportunities was given to us to step up, like how UTE is, opportunities are given to us, but the resources and the opportunities isn't really there for a lot of teens. We're just fortunate. But, I feel like we could step up with, testing and policies and stuff if we was given that opportunity because our voices do matter and we have a lot of insight and opinions on it because we do live it.
Speaking of voices, actually, I know over the break you mentioned the police-youth dialogues. Can you tell me more about that? What it was, what you guys were doing? What was the point?
As we're going to the police academy to talk to police about the things that we face or go through with police, and they're going to do the same, what they face and what they go through with teens, and hopefully that'll give them an understanding or even give us an understanding of why the things go on that go on and how can we change those things.
So are the dialogues ongoing? Is it something that's open to the public for other youth to participate? What's kind of the format of it?
I mean, I can't really answer that, but I know it's open for us.
So I'll answer it. Basically, you know, our youth organizers, we sit with the new recruits at the police academy, as well as the officers. We try to get the officers from the neighborhoods that we come from, such as like the Southwest community, but sometimes we have to, you know, settle for officers from like different areas and stuff like that. But we basically sit down with officers and recruits, and we build community understanding and knowledge. In doing so, we sit and we do interactives such as like fish bowls and concentric conversations, where we basically gain knowledge on, you know, where we come from, and we're basically like culturally training them on how to work with us, because, you know, a lot of officers, they don't come from our neighborhoods. A lot of officers, they probably never seen black people a day in their lives, so they just come in here to Rochester with like the sense of what they heard about us. You know, they hear that we're monsters and we're animals, or, you know, stuff like that, especially like young people. So as young people, we're trying to build like a community with our officers, because, you know, the whole Mike Brown situation and stuff like that, like we don't want to be another young black male or female, you know, has their life taken away to police brutality, or, you know, we want to be able to trust our officers. I mean, they're kind of like our neighborhood superheroes, you know. We can't be afraid of the people that's here to protect us.
And to build off of what Firmante said, the youth police dialogue is made. The main purpose is to build, you know, relationships, and to, you know, just give, you know, police input of why we might react a certain way to, you know, being approached, or why we look at cops a certain way, and why we feel that they're always, you know, our enemy and never here to help the situation, but to worsen it. You know, it just like, and the police speaking back, it helps us know that, you know, why the police do what they do and why they look at us the way they do. And it's just like, yeah, it's that interaction just to communicate and, you know, give youth, like, you know, give police an understanding of us. We were the chosen representatives. It's not open to the public because, you know, it's just that's what we focused on, and, you know, we're trying to get like the best way to do that.
To add on to that, basically, because one of the things that I believe that we came up with was the idea of, like, because they wanted us to think from a cop's perspective and from our perspective. So basically the thing was, cops are more than their uniforms and their badge, and we're more than our colors and our attire. Because we want, like, cops are always saying, oh, I'm more than my uniform, like, because we understand there's a person under there, but behind your badge, with the history that goes with that uniform and those badges, and that reputation has been built historically, you know what I'm saying? Even talking July 1964 was something that we just watched. Like, those relationships were built not because he say, she say, but stuff that actually happened. So basically these dialogues are to not like reset history, but to make a turning point, pretty much. That's why everybody with the police dialogues are coming in with a fresh mind, and we're gonna be learning stuff from each other on the spot. It's not like we were planning like, oh, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen. There's a way it's going to be conducted, but we don't know what's gonna happen until it happens inside of those dialogues.
Right, you mentioned that a lot of the issues that you guys are kind of facing have been happening historically. So over generations, youth have been trying to fight this. How do you kind of keep that hope alive, keep fighting, if you know that these have been issues that your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, and probably even your kids will continue to fight?
Say you just gotta, like, always gotta know that there's hope for whatever the situation is. There, you have to just always feel like there's hope for something, like, or just even feel like even a bad situation could get better. Like, you just always gotta have that thing in your mind just triggering you just to have hope.
I think history is vital to what we do. We activists are here, you know, to make a change and to stop the cycle that's been going on. You know, activists are often attacked, and when they get attacked, you know, it's not really productive. It always gets violent. Even though it does make change, it's always violent. And I guess we're changing the history of how activists work, because we're coming up with new ways to you know, approach issues, and we go to that institutional level. We don't, you know, we're not always just going out there and confronting cops or doing stuff like that. We go deeper. You know, we're having the dialogues. We're going to schools, talking to the school board. Just, you know, we go down deeper, and that's why our type of active different.
And also, I mean, I have a little sister, and I'm sure in the future, I'm more than likely gonna have, children. And I don't want my sister or my children to grow up the way that I grew up, or the way that my parents or, my grandparents grew up. Like, I want the chain to break somewhere, I want to stop the curse of, the curse of oppression and just like silence voices and all of that. So whatever it is that I would have to do, or, like bring the awareness out for others to, join, then I'm down 100%.
And I think also because that their generation had many different ways to like make an organization stick and make a positive impact. But our generation is way more, like, their minds are way set differently, and they're more creative with ways to come up with positive impacts that don't have to lead to violent ways and stuff, and that we don't always have to resort to violent.
Alright, I feel like we shouldn't just give up because of what's been happening in the past. Like, for example, like Malcolm X stood up, he got shot. Martin Luther King stood up, he got shot. Like, we should not give up just because we feel like we're going, our words or any of our actions get shot down. We should just keep it going, because if we really want to change, we would want that change to happen. Even if it doesn't happen today or tomorrow, it's still going to come. Like, that change will still come, even if it's not by us. Even if, like, the younger ones do make that change happen, it's going to happen. We should just keep pushing and be motivated to want a different society, more positive atmosphere that we have right now.
Like, for Monte, I have 2 younger sisters of my own, and them growing up in this world, there's things that they know or that they even see that they shouldn't at their age, just off of the experience of having 2 older brothers. And I mean, their dad not really around to show them right from wrong. All they got is their mom. And me, I feel like I'm really like, I gotta be a role model for them. So that's where that hope come from for me. I gotta push harder every day, because I realize, like, I done lost friends out here to either jail or a casket. And it's like, I could end up in one of those situations even mistaken, And, I mean, if I keep hope, then maybe something will change towards where my sisters ain't gotta really worry about nothing, and my future kids ain't have to worry about nothing. My mom doesn't have to worry about her kids growing up into a world that was, more dangerous than the one she grew up in, So, yeah.
And I just want to backtrack on what I said earlier. I don't mean to bash our earlier activists, because I love what they did. I love what they started. They had a stronger passion of changing things than we did. They were willing to put their lives on the line. That's what paved our way. That's why we do what we do, because they did what they did. And nothing would have changed if they didn't do what they had to do. And we're just approaching this in this new way, because we are a new generation. We're not the same. People don't think the same. So what we're doing is like kind of looking at the new generation, and our historical background is what allows us to be.
For me, I feel like the key is to believe not only in the movement as a whole, but also in yourself, because a lot of people who don't believe in themselves, therefore that's why they don't really put the effort towards making a change. And remembering, if you start the movement, remember why you started, because there's a lot of corruption, and it's a lot of people who are whispering in your ear and tell you something that's not all good, but they'll make it seem all good, so you'll take that path. So you got to remember why you started that, and take that to the grave with you.
One more. I feel like we, us youth, feel powerless because of like other people that's been wrong before us. But I feel like once we find like that power that we actually have, because we do have more power than what we think we do, then like the change that we want to make can happen.
Like, hope is like, it's always gonna be there, but it's a matter of making it a goal and accomplishing it and making it happen, so that you won't have to hope for it no more, that it can be there, instead of hoping like, oh, I can go do this. Just like a lifer in prison, like, they don't never lose hope. They always like keep that hope that they coming home, even though they really know they not coming home. And like, it's just always hope for whatever, like, just hope. Like, you gotta always hope.
So it kind of, I think you guys spoke to it, but indirectly, who are you all trying to convince that our lives matter? Who all are you guys trying to convince?
I feel like each other, because as everything in TE is happening in the world still going on, and it may seem like some people are trying to convince like the white people, quote unquote, that our lives matter, but us, I feel like we reaching out to the community. We getting into these dialogues, going into schools to show youth that their lives matter, not just black but all together. Because like, if we don't think our lives matter and we keep taking each other's lives, how is somebody gonna look at us and be like, okay, their lives matter if we taking our own? It doesn't make sense.
I think that it's the systems that we're trying to prove that our lives matter. The systems that oppress us. I feel as though they feel that our lives don't matter because, you know, jail, they giving us life in prison, authorities, they're brutally beating us. We, like, believe it or not, we're still facing a sense of, like, slavery. We still going through mental slavery, and, you know, we just trying to convey the message that our lives do matter. We trying to break that barrier, like, we're not slaves anymore, we're you know, we back to the whole kings and queens thing. Like we're royalty. Our lives do matter. It's you can't put a price on our lives. Like you can't. I don't know.
I want to add on to what you were saying. I totally agree. I'm going to pose a question, but then I'm going to speak on it. So when in history has Black Lives Matter? And that's a big question because like I feel like it has never mattered to anyone. Black lives has never been valued. So I feel like especially since history repeats itself and it's getting worse because like, you know, we are being killed. Like we are being killed by officers, you know, and it's just like all of the systems that's out here that's meant to oppress us. It's just, we're not understanding that because we're not, you know, given the opportunity, being educated on, you know, these systems. So we're trying to prove to police officers and we're trying to prove to people that conduct these systems that's meant to oppress us that, you know, that we do have value in our lives. And along with trying to prove to, I'm going to be very true, I'm going to be real, along with, I feel like we're trying to prove to white people that our lives matter because they in society have like a huge role in these systems that's meant to oppress us. They have the power that we don't have. We don't have that power, so we're really trying to prove to white people that our lives matter.
I just wanted to add on to what Jacarl said. I feel like we really do, you know, we really are trying to prove to ourselves that our lives matter because so many people out here, you know, are like our age, are ignorant to really what, like, well, I'm not ignorant, but they don't really know like how much we matter, you know, because if they did know, then so many of our bodies wouldn't have been taken by other teens, you know, and we wouldn't be damaging it with drugs and partying and all of this other stuff that they out here doing. We would actually care for our lives, value for our lives more, and actually go and try to change something. We would have made change by now, you know. And I feel like certain people do know. That's why we're slowly coming up and actually realizing that and actually trying to change. Like even with Teen Empowerment. I mean, look at all of us. Like, we realize our lives matter. That's why we're trying to get everybody on the same boat with us. So, I mean, it starts with us. Because, like he said, if nobody, you know, like, if we don't treat ourselves like we matter, if we don't realize that we matter, then why would anybody else be like, oh, you matter? You know, that's why cops are out here brutalizing us. That's why other people are shutting us down and stuff like that.
Can I just pose a question really quick to, well, I mean, if you, go ahead.
I was gonna say like what Monte has said. We trying to prove to society basically, and like the system. I also say like the police and everything too, because like the police they got a chance to choose the career to be a cop, but we don't have that option to be a kid in the hood. So like they have the chance to like, oh yeah, I want to be a cop, but we don't get that chance because we don't get to like speak out, and that the adults is not trying to hear us. So that's what I feel like we're trying to prove to the community too.
And to jump off of Radeja's question of when did Black lives ever matter, it's basically based off of textbooks. You know, we were never taught of what happened before, you know, European conquered. Like books are written by the winners. So there's like nobody talks about what happened before that, and how in all history books we're basically seen as what we are seen as now, and we're seen as animals, we're seen as slaves, laborers, people that work for the higher power, and that's where it goes back to that institutional level, how it was because of the institutions that history books are written that way, just to make sure that they stay in power, and make sure that that you're not you're not worth more than what we say you're worth.
And I just want
and also like what they just said, like even though it's not just white people, it's people with power that don't live in poverty, that live in a nice suburbs, nice house, nice car. Like, yeah, even though y'all don't live inside the poverty, even though they don't live inside the poverty, they have to understand that even though they don't live in the poverty is still affecting the suburbs. Like, you have to understand that y'all living good, so what are y'all doing? Y'all just pushing us out even more and just making the ghetto like worse, because y'all pushing us out of them communities, can't get into good schools, like, and it's like even the things that's supposed to be funded to us, we're not getting. The kids in the suburbs get that. Us kids that live in the ghetto, lower poverty line or below, we don't get them resources that they get in the suburbs. When we walk through school, we treat it like we walking in a prison. When you in the suburbs, you don't get treated like that. So
Okay, thank you. This has been an excellent conversation, but by no means should it stop here. You can join us on Twitter, hashtag TalkBackForTeens, on Facebook, on our website, talkbackforteens.com. I really encourage you guys. This is such a hot button issue right now for not only black youth, but for, I believe, the nationwide. It's something that's going in, a huge issue for Bernie Sanders, Hillary Clinton, and just the whole presidential election. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for being here, and this has been Talk Back for Teens.